She texted, "Don't call me," while out with friends. So I replied, "Then don't come back." When Laura's text lit up my phone, I read it 3 times before I could believe it. Don't call me. Just 3 words. 3 words that somehow carried the weight of 7 broken years. I sat alone in my office, staring at the glowing screen while the silence around me became almost unbearable. My fingers trembled as I typed 4 words that would change both our lives forever. Then don't come back. The moment I pressed send, my heart pounded against my chest. I didn't write it because I wanted to lose her. I wrote it because I was exhausted from trying to hold on to someone who had already let go. Laura and I had been married for 7 years. In the beginning, we laughed over burnt dinners, danced in the kitchen, and dreamed about growing old together. But somewhere along the way, those dreams faded into endless arguments, cold dinners, and nights spent sleeping inches apart while feeling miles away. That morning had been another disaster. She accused me of never listening. I wanted to tell her I had spent years listening. To every complaint, every disappointment, every excuse. But every time I tried to speak, she had already decided I was wrong. So instead, I stayed silent. She grabbed her purse, slammed the door, and disappeared. Hours later, while she was supposedly out with friends, her message arrived. Don't call me. No explanation, no apology, just a command. For the first time in years, I refused to chase after her. Then my reply changed everything. 5 minutes later, my phone exploded with calls. Once, twice, 10 times. Her name flashed across my screen over and over again. Something was wrong. Finally, I answered. Laura? There was nothing but heavy breathing. Then, a quiet sob. Please, don't say things like that. Her voice was shaking. You don't mean it. I closed my eyes. No, I replied quietly. You said not to call. I simply answered. Silence. Then came the words I never expected. Can I come home? Home. The place she had spent months trying to escape. Why? I asked. Another long silence followed before she whispered the sentence that shattered every lie I'd been telling myself. Because I made a mistake. My stomach dropped. Every late night, every secret smile at her phone, every unexplained absence, every time she pulled away when I reached for her. It all suddenly made sense. There was someone else, I said. She didn't deny it. Instead, she broke down completely. It's over, she cried. I ended it, I swear. Please let me come home. I leaned back in my chair, unable to breathe. For months, I had begged for her attention. Now she was begging for mine, but strangely, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like standing in the ashes of a house that had already burned to the ground. I don't know if there's anything left to come home to, I whispered. She cried harder. Please don't do this to me. Those words echoed in my mind long after the call ended. Do this to her? Hadn't she already done it to us? That night, sleep never came. Around midnight, another message appeared. I'm outside. I looked through the window. There she stood beneath the streetlight, wrapped in a thin jacket, mascara running down her face, trembling in the cold. For one heartbreaking moment, I saw the woman I had fallen in love with. When I opened the door, she immediately burst into tears. I thought he loved me, she whispered. I thought you stopped caring. Her voice cracked. But I was wrong. I searched her face for the woman I'd married. Instead, I found a stranger carrying regret. I know what I lost now, she said. You were enough. I smiled sadly. No. I was always enough. You just couldn't see it. She reached for my hand. For years, I would have taken hers without hesitation. This time, I stepped back. I loved you, Laura, I said, my own eyes filling with tears. I loved you enough to forgive your distance, your silence, and every broken promise. But I can't spend the rest of my life proving my worth to someone who only sees it after giving it away. She collapsed into tears. I'm sorry. I know. And I truly hope one day you forgive yourself. She looked at me with desperate hope. So, is this really goodbye? I remembered her message. 3 simple words. Don't call me. I nodded slowly. Then don't come back. The tears in her eyes told me she finally understood. I gently closed the door. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with peace. As I walked back toward the living room, my phone began ringing again. Laura. I stared at the screen for several seconds. Then I turned the phone face down. For years, I had answered every call, every excuse, every promise that tomorrow would be different. This time, I chose myself. And for the first time in 7 years, the silence didn't hurt. It healed.